Hello everyone, welcome to Tutorials by Decade. My name is Decade, and in this video we're gonna do a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of prep to get ready for doing dungeons. With that being said, before I get into this, something I've been forgetting to do. If you've seen any of my other videos and you like what I've done so far, you can go ahead and hit the thumbs up button right now. I do appreciate it. I do. It helps me out, so thank you for doing that. Also, if you haven't yet done so, please subscribe as I have videos coming out like this all the time, and I do not want you to miss anything. So with that all out of the way, let's actually get into it. So all the things that we need to do to get prepped for dungeons is make these items that I put out here persistent, but also destroy them whenever we pick them up so we don't keep getting them. The other thing that we need to do is our UI here. It does not stay when we change scenes, so we need to change that. And then there's a few other little minor fixes that we need to do to get ready for dungeons, because with dungeons, there's going to be a lot of scene transitions, and we want to make sure everything goes great. So let me show you what's going on right now. So if I hit play, and I pick up this health, you'll see, I have 6 health, now I have 8. Pick up the key, I have 0, I now have 1. Go away, leave me alone, I'm trying to teach. God. Anyway, and then I pick up the coin, and I now have 1 coin. Right? And then I enter a new scene. Well, first, watch what happens when I enter a new scene. I have a new UI. The other issue is whenever I come back, everything stays, but all this stuff respawns. So now I have 2 coins. Now I have 2 keys. And now I have 10 health. So that's one issue. Another issue is, let me find our little NPC roaming around here. If I try to talk to him, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you go like back and forth between scenes, so we're going to make sure that this always works. So with that being said, let's get down to it. So the very first thing is we need to make our UI persistent. So we could do a few things here. We could, just make a UI persistent code that just has a singleton in it, and then attach it to the UI and call it a day. Or we could do something that we kind of already have going on. So see how we have our game manager, our scene loader, and our scene spawn manager. We'll fix this later down the road, but ideally these should be their own little game objects like the inventory system is. So what we could do is we could just move our UI manager, or our UI under managers, and we can just right click on managers, go to create empty, go to UI manager, and then we just drag our UI underneath manager, and there we go. That should be all we need to do to get the UI to stay persistent. So let's find out if that's true. Pick up that, let's pick up that, let's pick up that, and let's enter a new scene. And there is our UI. It is all still there. Everything is still good. We come out here, and all this stuff is still here. And now we can go back and forth between scenes, and our UI stays. So that was a quick, easy fix, right? So now let's move on to making sure that these items don't just keep popping up. Oh, I opened up the wrong one. We want that one. Back to that. So what we need to do is we need to make our items that way once we pick them up, they're picked up and they don't show up again. Now, later on, we can have our items, like most Zelda games and most games in general, show up for X period of time, and then they can blink really fast to let you know, hey, you better pick it up. And then after a while, we can just straight up destroy them. That's great for like enemies that drop something, or whatever the case may be. But for items that you want to have, like let's just say this was like, I don't know, a secret forest, and then it had the health power up here. You want that to be there all the time until the player picks it up, right? So what we're gonna do is we are going to go and go to our scripts, Go to our items, and we're just right clicking here, create a new mono behavior script, and we're just going to name this unique pickup ID. Once Unity's done doing its thing, we'll open that up. We'll get rid of all this. And what we'll do in here is, first, we're going to do something we haven't done before. We're going to do disallow multiple component. If you hover over it, right there, it says prevents mono behavior of same type or subtype to be added to more than once to a game object, right? So this is how we're going to make sure that we have a unique ID and only one unique ID per item. So tooltip, unique ID for this pickup instance must be unique across the whole game. All right, so whatever ID that you give this item, it has to be unique. It cannot be something that any other item will use. So we'll just do public string ID. And then for now, since we're working in the editor, we will do hashtag or pound symbol if you're older, and do if, and then Unity underscore editor. So this is only going to run if we're in the Unity editor, and we're going to do private void on validate, and we will do if string dot is null or white space, then ID, and then underneath that we are going to do ID, no, not if, ID equals game object dot scene dot name plus, and it already kind of has what I want, sort of. So we'll do the quotations, underscore quotations, then plus, and then we'll do game object dot name. And then underneath this, we will just do our little hashtag or pound symbol and do end if. That is all we need to do for this. So what we're going to do is we'll go back into Unity, let it all compile. We'll click on the objects that we want to have unique IDs. We'll hit add component. We'll just type in ID or unique ID. There we go, unique pickup ID. And as soon as we do this, you'll notice because we have this little line that says, because we have this little line here that says if Unity editor, blah, 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 you know, that automatically names this item test scene health potion. Right? And just so you can see it again, we'll do it with the key. We'll add a unique pickup ID, and it adds test scene key. So what it's doing is it's taking the name of the scene, which is test scene. It's doing an underscore, and then it's giving you the name of the object, so key 1, right? So just to show you that how this works, we will grab a prefab. Where are my prefab? That's prefab. Go. Item. We'll grab another key. We'll drag it out there, and you'll notice this key is now just key. And if we drop this one, it's now key 2. So we can add the unique IDs to this, and it's key 2, or it's just key, right? So we'll actually keep the one that's key. We'll get rid of one and this one. So now that we have the unique ID set up, what we need to do is we need to create a world state. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our world, and we'll just right click in here, create a mono behavior script, and we will name it world state. And then we'll open that up, get rid of all this stuff in here. And what we will do is we will do a public static world state. And then this little thing right here will be we'll track the pickups that we make that have been selected. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a private hash set then string. So a hash set, if we hover over this here, it is it's essentially like a list, um, but it's stored. Can't remember exactly how it's worded, but nonetheless, it's how it's stored right now. But nonetheless, we're going to change this to collected pickups or pickup IDs. Then we're going to equal a new, and then it already wanted me to fill all that out. So there you go. So new hash set string. All right. What we'll do now is a private void awake. And in here, we'll do if instance not equals null and instance not equals this. We'll destroy the game object. And then we will return. And then we will do instance equals this. And then lastly, don't destroy on load game object. So we just created this as a singleton, meaning that it will not get destroyed between scene transitions. Now what we're going to do is a public bool is collected, then string ID. Then what we're going to do in here is just simply return not string dot is null or empty ID and collected pickups dot contains ID. So we're simply just adding this to the list as long as it's not empty and as long as it does not already contain it in the ID of the of our hash set. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a public void mark collected and then a string ID. Then we're going to do if string dot is null or empty ID. Then we're simply just going to return. Now, if you've missed the video where I talked about this, whenever you're doing just one single line of an if statement, you do not need the brackets. Like up here, we have the brackets. You don't need those if you're just doing one line. Now, you can put that one line directly after the if statement, or you can put it on the next line there. But only if you are doing one line. Like you can't do multiple lines. Only one line. All right, so all we're doing is returning, so I'm just going to put it there like that. And then we're going to do, and it already wants to do it, like collected pickups dot add ID. So I'm just going to hit tab to fill that in. And then that's all we're going to do here. All right. So before we go back into Unity, there is something that we do need to do, and we need to go to our base pickup items. And all we need to do in base pickup item is just add one simple little thing here. We need to go to where we pick up everything, and before we destroy it, so after pickup sound effects, but before destroy on pickup, we want to do if persist. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. We don't want to do that yet. We want to do var persistent equals get component, then persistent pickup. Did we do persistent pickup yet? I don't think we did persistent pickup yet. We did not. So we'll finish filling this in real fast. Anyway, finish filling this in. Persist. Oh, boom. It's going to give us an error for right now because I forgot a step apparently. But if persistent, not null, meaning it does exist, then we are going to do persistent dot mark selected. Not doing. Oh, I'm being really stupid. I am sorry. So we want to save this here as is, and as long as you spelled everything correctly, we should be good. We do need to make one more thing here, and I'm trying. Oh, my notes are all messed up. Something's not correct in my notes, but it still worked, which is confusing. I'm trying to figure that out, so I apologize. Give me one moment here. Pick up. There is one more script that we need to do, but for whatever reason, it was not showing up on my notes. So I found it though. We are good. So let's go back into Unity real fast. And Unity is probably going to give us some errors. We'll just clear that out for right now. And yeah, we know. What we want to do now is we want to have an empty game object, and we'll just name this one world state. And in world state, we will put our world state script. We can put this up here with the managers. That's all we need to do there, but we do need to go back to item. We do need to right click, create mono behavior script, and we do need to name this persistent pickup. Then we're going to open this guy up here and then get rid of all this. And we need to require something here. So we're going to do require component type of unique pickup ID. Then in here, we're going to do private unique pickup ID, and then private void awake. And then we'll do pickup ID equals get component unique pickup ID. And then private void start. And then we need to check if world state dot instance not equals null, and world state dot instance dot is collected. Then in here we'll do pickup ID dot ID. That means we already collected, so destroy game object. Then we'll just do destroy and then game object. All right. Then down here we need to do public void mark collected again. And then we'll do if world state dot instance not equals null, then we are going to do world state dot instance dot mark collected, then pickup ID dot ID. And we'll save that, and then let's go back to our base pickup to make sure that that fixed that. Base pickup item. I don't see any red on the right hand side there, so we are good there. All right. So sorry that took a little bit longer than I anticipated for that one, but nonetheless, we are now good to go there. So let us wait until Unity does its thing. And now what we need to do is we need to go back to all those items and add a persistent pickup to them. Pickup, persistent pickup, and for this coin, persistent pickup. So now let's hit play. And now you'll notice we can pick this up, pick up the key, pick up the coin, go into the house, walk around, come back out, and now they are not here. Now, one thing I do want to warn you, this is per instance, meaning right now when we're playing and testing in Unity, everything's fine. As soon as we stop it though, everything comes back. Once you build your game, everything will still keep coming back. Like if you save the game, load the game up, it'll all keep coming back. So for now, this is just for Unity, but once you build your game, we're going to have a more permanent solution a little bit later down the road that involves saving things to memory when we save our game and everything else. So for now, just understand that this is not fully complete. So now we need to do one more thing. So earlier I was telling you like our dialogue would get all messed up if we go from one scene to another, if we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, let me see if I can get it to do it just once so I can show you what I mean. Do pick up, and pick up. In here, go out, in, out, in, out, in, and out, and in one more time. Let's see if it's his is fine. Go to this other NPC and see if all this is fine. Where you at? There you're at, buddy. There. Yeah, now see, here's where we're having an issue. Where it's saying missing reference exception. So if we actually open up the scene and go to this NPC, you'll notice over here that our dialogue bubble and our dialogue text are missing, right? And that's because our player is persistent, and it is persistent via a singleton. So if you go into the scene and come out of the scene once, the player that you started with might be the same player, so it might work. Then again, the player that you started with might not be the same player that you entered and exited the scene with. The player themselves are not going to notice a difference, but the code does notice a difference, which is why things were a little bit weird. So we are going to have to fix that. So in our managers here, we are going to right click manager. We are going to go to create empty, and we are going to name this dialogue manager. All right. So with our dialogue manager, we are going to go and create a script for that. And I believe I put that script. Let me check my here. Doesn't really matter where I put it, I guess. You know what? I put it in UI. So for now, we'll just put it empty. We can create a folder for it later, but we do a mono behavior script. And I forget what I named it. Hold on. Back in the probably already named it, which is fine. We can I'll just delete it and make a new one. Didn't do anything in it yet. Anyway, it's not going to matter. So we will right click on that, go to create, mono behavior script, and we will name this dialog by. Let Unity do its thing. We'll open it up. We will close that out. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a public static dialog UI instance. And this time we're going to do a get and private set. Don't need all that extra stuff at the end there. Then we're going to do a tooltip, and this will be the actual dialog bubble. Put whatever you want there, to be honest with you, but that's what we're putting in is the actual dialog bubble. We're going to serialize the field. We're going to do private game object dialog bubble. And down here, we're going to do tooltip the actual dialog text. And again, we're going to serialize that field, and we're going to do private tmp underscore text dialog text. I want you to notice one thing. As soon as I put in this tmp text, automatically up here, it put in the using. So depending on what version of Visual Studio you're using, it should do that for you. If not, you will have to add using the tmp row. And then down here, we also, oh, not those. We want to do a private base NPC and then owner. What we're going to do is in awake, so private void awake, we're going to check to see if this instance is not null, and if the instance is not this. If it is, we're going to destroy the game object. Then we're just going to return. And down here, we're going to do instance equals this. Then we're going to do if dialog bubble is null. We're going to do dialog bubble equals game object. So essentially, we're making the dialog bubble the object itself. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that. No, we are going to do that. We're not going to do that. Hold on. This is if we were adding the dialog bubble to the. So we're just going to leave that go. Ignore that part. But we are going to do if dialog bubble is not null, then we are going to deactivate it. The dialog bubble dot set active false. We're also going to change the owner to null, which it should be anyway, but just to be safe, we're going to change it to null. Then what we're going to do is a public void show, then base NPC new owner, and string text. I'm going to explain what the owner and all that stuff means here in just a minute, but owner equals new owner, and if dialog bubble not equals null, then we are going to do dialog bubble dot set active true. I remember what I said earlier because we're just doing one line. We don't need the brackets. So that's all we need to do there. Then we're going to do another if statement if dialog text not equals null. Then our dialog text dot text is going to equal text. And that's all we need to do for show. Then we need to do a public void hide, then base NPC requesting owner. And in here, we're going to do if the owner is not requesting owner, then we're simply just going to return. Then we're going to do owner equals null. And if dialog bubble not equals null, then we are going to do dialog bubble dot set active false. And then lastly, we're going to do public bool is open equals dialog bubble not equals null and dialog bubble dot active self. All right, let me break this down for you. Some of this should be familiar to you already, but the owner part might not be. And we're going to actually put this into action here in a minute. But if you have two NPCs standing next to each other and you're talking to one, but you're in range of both, and you hit the interact button, the whole thing might get confused and go, oh, well, you're talking to this one. Oh, well, now you're talking to that one. When really you're just trying to talk to one NPC. So we make one of the NPCs an owner. All right. And because that NPC is the owner of the dialog box will not close unless you're still talking to the current owner. Might not make much sense to you, but it makes perfect sense in the form of code because we're assigning the dialog box to one NPC essentially. And another NPC cannot take over the conversation unless you finish the conversation with the current NPC. Essentially all that is. But because we did that, you need to go and make some changes in our base NPC. So if we go to base NPC and go up to the top here, scroll down just a little bit, we can take out these references right here because we do not need the dialog bubble or the dialog text here anymore. So get rid of those. You're going to notice an error right here for the dialog bubble. We're just going to get rid of that. What we're going to do is on enable. Oh, we already have on enable and on disable the way we want it. So the one thing we didn't do before, though, that we're going to add now is we are going to add interact pressed. And we're going to default that to false. This is just a safety precaution that I forgot to put in last time we did these. So we're going to do interact pressed was false on both of them. Our start, we don't really need to do. Oh, we do need to put one little extra check in here. So if player equals null, then we're going to do player equals game object dot find game object with tag, then player question mark dot transform, or just tran. There we go. Why is this being weird? Find object with tag. Oh. Object with tag, not objects. There we go. That's why that was being weird. Anyway. The other thing we need to do is go to our player interaction and find that I know it's in here somewhere. Oh, not in player interaction. It's there we go. Start interaction. So in start interaction, we need to get rid of these. And instead, we need to do if dialog UI dot instance equals null. Then we're going to do a debug.log warning, and then base NPC dialog UI dot instance not found. Then is interacting equals false, then return. That way we're not stuck in some sort of loop or anything like that if things go haywire. But what we do need to do is dialog.instance.show, and then this, because this is now the owner, and dialog line. And now in the end interaction, get rid of that, and then we check again if dialog UI.instance is not null, then we need to do dialog UI.instance.hide, and then this. That is the requesting NPC. And we'll save that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into Unity if things don't freak out on me here. We're going to go to our dialog manager, add component, dialog UI, go into our UI manager and our UI, find our dialog bubble and text, and we're going to drag that to here, drag that to here. Now we'll hit play. Pick up our fun stuff over here. Now see, all this stuff popped up in here because I made a mistake, so I will show you how to fix that mistake in a minute. But let's just go in and out a couple times just to make sure that all is good. And we'll come up here and we will try to talk to this NPC, and we're able to talk to the NPC. What I forgot to do is I forgot to save this scene and then go to the other scene and just get rid of the canvas in there. Since the canvas is going to be persistent, we named it UI in this scene, but since that's going to be persistent, we don't need it in there. So now I can load this up, pick up this fun stuff, go in here, and there we go. We can still talk to this NPC as many times as we want, and then we will do this enough times, and now come out. And if everything is good, we should be able to talk to this NPC still. And there we go. So that is everything I wanted to cover in this video. This is just to get prepped to do dungeons. I am going to be adding a whole bunch of other small little things as we go along with dungeons, including branching NPCs, boss keys, boss fights. And once we're done with that, we will have essentially the very, very, very basics of a game. With the course of the next couple videos, you will be able to complete technically a game if you wanted to. Now, obviously, there's more stuff we want to add. We want to add more items. We want to add, magic. We want to add a whole bunch of other stuff. But nonetheless, the basic framework for a game will be done over the course of the next maybe 4 or 5 videos. And then from that point on, it's just adding and polishing. So with that being said, I am going to end this video here. Make sure you save everything if you haven't done so already. As always, please give me the big old thumbs up if you liked this video, or if you enjoyed it, or if you learned anything. It does help me out, and I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, as I have videos like this coming out all the time, and I do not want you to miss anything, because that's a lot of videos to have to go back and view if you do. So please, please, please do that. Plus, it helps me out. So thank you. All that out of the way. As always, thank you. Have a good one. And I'll see you in the next video.